The old St. Alden's Hospital sat on the edge of town like a rotting carcass, its broken windows resembling jagged teeth, and the once pristine white walls now cloaked in creeping ivy and graffiti. It had been abandoned for nearly 30 years, following a fire in the East Wing that claimed the lives of over a dozen patients and staff. Locals whispered of strange occurrences, shadows moving behind boarded windows, distant screams on silent nights, and lights flickering in rooms where no electricity should flow. Hannah didn't believe in ghost stories. She was a journalist, one known for her investigative work. When her editor pitched the idea of spending the night in St. Alden's to debunk the supernatural rumors, she took it as a challenge. Armed with a flashlight, a camera, and a tape recorder, she stepped through the hospital's rusted front doors. The air was stale and heavy, filled with the scent of mold and decay. Her footsteps echoed down the long corridor, where peeling wallpaper revealed scars of the past. Broken gurneys and scattered medical records littered the floor, and the faint dripping of water echoed from somewhere deep within the building. She set up her recorder in what was once the operating room. The place reeked of burned plastic and something metallic. As she pressed record, a faint voice whispered through the room, "Get out!" Hannah spun around, shining her flashlight. The room was empty. Laughing nervously, she replayed the tape. Static hissed for a few moments before the faint words repeated. Her chest tightened. "Old tape. Faulty equipment," she muttered, though her hands trembled as she packed up and moved to the second floor. The stairwell creaked beneath her weight. The upper levels were even darker, the few moonbeams filtering through broken windows casting eerie shadows. She walked past the nurse's station, where a rusted wheelchair sat at an odd angle. As she passed, it screeched and moved a few inches on its own. She froze, her flashlight shaking. A sudden loud clang echoed from the hallway behind her. Turning, she saw the wheelchair had rolled to the middle of the corridor. "Hello?" she called, her voice breaking. No response. She continued to the East Wing, the site of the fire. Charred walls and melted equipment greeted her. The air was colder here, biting at her exposed skin. She began snapping photos when the camera's flash illuminated a figure standing at the end of the hallway, a tall man in a scorched hospital gown, his face obscured by shadows. "Hello," she stammered, raising her flashlight. The figure was gone. Heart pounding, she turned to leave, but the hallway seemed to stretch endlessly. The exit was nowhere in sight. Panic set in as the walls seemed to close in around her. The whispers returned, louder this time, overlapping voices chanting incoherent words. She stumbled into a room, slamming the door shut behind her. The whispers stopped abruptly. The silence was deafening. Turning, she realized she was in the hospital morgue. The air reeked of chemicals and death. Row upon row of metal drawers lined the walls. She heard a faint click as one of the drawers slid open. A skeletal hand emerged, followed by a head with hollow eyes and scorched skin. The corpse dragged itself toward her, its jaw unhinged in a silent scream. Hannah screamed, stumbling backward. She tripped and fell, her flashlight rolling away, plunging her into darkness. She felt cold fingers wrap around her ankle, pulling her toward the open drawer. Desperately, she grabbed the flashlight, shining it at her attacker. The light revealed nothing but the empty room. Hannah scrambled to her feet, bolting for the door. She didn't stop running until she burst through the front entrance and collapsed on the grass outside. The hospital loomed behind her, silent and foreboding. When she reviewed her recordings later, every clip was corrupted, except one. The final seconds captured her panicked breaths as a deep, guttural voice whispered, "You can leave, but you'll never escape."